Folks, the leopards are feasting on the folks who cut off their own noses to spite the libs. That's a pretty involved metaphor, yet there's no other way to describe the ridiculousness of the situation. One of the greatest mysteries of Trump winning the last election is how he was able to convince 30-some-odd% of Latinos to vote for him. It turns out it's more like, oh my God, Trump is deporting me and my family. It's mostly Cubans who did this, by the way, in states like Florida, where somehow they've bought into the conservative anti-immigrant rhetoric, ignoring the fact that they themselves are immigrants. If you enjoy these kinds of videos mixed in with breaking news, consider subscribing to Really American. We're the kind of independent media that MAGA hates. Thank you to all who have joined already.
Thank you.
This woman is one such case of a MAGA Latino who found herself on the other side of the stick. She was left to care for her disabled son after her husband was deported back to Cuba. This video is in Spanish, so I'll only play a little bit of it, but there are subtitles.
Me siento totalmente traicionada y sé que a lo mejor no lo digan.
Angustiada, desesperada y decepcionada. Así dice estar esta madre cubana Lillian Pais luego de que su esposo fuera deportado por la administración del presidente Trump, a quien ella le dio su voto.
Creía que quizás con el mandato del presidente, las personas que eran delincuentes eran los que se iban a ir y los que tenían pues un récord sea limpio y demás, pues iban a tener una oportunidad.
Y es que en su cita de inmigración el pasado 25 de abril, la pareja fue separada y notificada que Alian permanecería bajo custodia del gobierno por una orden de deportación vigente.
En un ratito pues sale la abogada y me entrega un sobre amarillo con sus pertenencias. Y yo, pero ¿qué está pasando? ¿Qué está pasando? ¿Dónde está mi esposo? Y pues bueno, ahí ella me dice que lo habían detenido.
Él fue trasladado a varios centros de detención desde Homestead en el sur de Florida, Arizona y Luisiana, antes de ser enviado en un vuelo a Cuba. Alian denuncia el maltrato que recibió en ese tiempo.
Y el trato en lo que es la deportación y en los traslados es súper malo porque vienes esposado de los pies, la cintura y las manos.
Pues ahora Lillian enfrenta la difícil situación de tener que cuidar a su hijo parapléjico y a su hija, pequeña de 3 años, completamente sola.
Estoy ahora batallando con la niña, mi otro niño, intentando conservar mi trabajo. Perdí el ingreso de mi esposo, que era el principal de la casa.
Tras esta dura separación, Lillian le envía un mensaje al presidente Trump.
Que nos dé una oportunidad. No pienso que es justo para todos.
Now, I personally have a lot of sympathy for her situation. It must be insanely difficult to have to care for her kids now that this has happened, and my heart is breaking for her child. But I don't know if you can call this unfair. I mean, it's hard to accept that she was tricked by Trump. He's not exactly known for telling the truth. And I think these YouTube comments from other Latinos under this reporting from Univision perfectly sums up my sentiments. How it's her turn, it's not fair, but when it's someone else's turn, what does it matter? I mean, it's not fair for her, but it is fair for everyone else. Many wanted others to be deported, but they never thought that that would happen to their relatives. That's called karma. Because this woman not only cast her own family into the fire, she also helped ruin the lives of thousands of other families. This is from weareceda.org. Cubans face a new reality as detentions begin. 500,000 plus Cubans in the United States at risk of deportation. Never in recent history have this many Cubans in the U.S. been at risk of deportation and detention. The reasons are myriad. The Trump administration has officially ended the humanitarian parole program for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans, impacting at least 110,000 Cubans. Between fiscal year 21 and 2024, 681,000 Cubans sought entry into the U.S., searching for safety and stability. Hundreds of thousands remained in limbo with I-220A documentation and are now facing new threats under the Trump administration's crackdown on all forms of immigration. This MAGA voting Cuban mother didn't spare any thought for the other mothers that she was putting at risk with her vote. Other mothers like this one, who is now separated from her still-feeding child and shipped back to Cuba.
Heidi Sanchez spends her days watching videos of daughter Kayleen. It's as close as she can be to her child now, just days after Heidi was deported from the United States to Cuba. Kayleen, who was born in Florida, stayed there with her father, who, like Kayleen, is also a U.S. citizen. But she does not comprehend where her mother is. She's very intelligent, Heidi says of her 1-year-old daughter. When she talks to me, she says, "Mama, come." and they say, your mama is working. She says, mama, come. Ide lived for 6 years in the U.S., and although she tried to become a legal resident, she was placed into deportation proceedings after missing an immigration hearing in 2019. In late April, at what she thought was a routine appointment with immigration officials, she says they told her she was being deported and to have her husband come get their daughter. I told them, don't take away my daughter, Ide says. They never said if I could take her or not with me. Ide had to hand over her daughter to a member of the legal team to then give to her husband, her lawyer told me.
What they told her was that she needed to call her husband and that she needed to ask him to come and pick up the baby. There was not an option of, oh, I want to take my baby, can I take her?
2 days later, Ide was deported on a U.S. government flight to Cuba without her daughter, who she was breastfeeding and suffers from convulsions. In Florida, Ide says she was working as a nursing assistant and had no criminal record, not seeming to fit with the image of the dangerous, undocumented immigrants that the Trump administration says it is removing from U.S. streets. Photos of her wedding in the U.S. are reminders of a different world, a different life. I ask Ide if she thinks she was living the American dream. I don't know if it was the American dream, she tells me, but it was my dream, my family. A dream and family that seem farther and farther out of reach.
And it's horrible. Like, this mother didn't do anything wrong but miss one appointment. I don't know what the MAGA Cubans thought mass deportation meant. I don't know how they thought they were going to be just the criminals when there aren't that many immigrant criminals. MAGA gets away with painting all Latino immigrants as violent gang members, specifically because women like this support them when they do. Funny part is that immigrants from other countries are perfectly fine as long as they work specifically for Trump. Turns out Trump is currently taking advantage of one of the last things that Biden did before leaving office, which was expand the path to citizenship for H-2B visa holders. On March 26th, Trump announced a new raft of H-2B visas. On March 31st, Trump's Bedminster, New Jersey Country Club filed a request with the Department of Labor's Office of Foreign Labor Certification for 8 foreign workers, including 7 cooks and a bartender. On April 2nd, Bedminster posted positions for 9 servers under the same program. MAGA and the Republicans have been whining and moaning for years about how immigrant visa holders are taking American jobs and how they're going to put America first. And yet here's Trump hiring bartenders, servers, and cooks who are visa holders, likely so he can get away with mistreating them. The only immigrants that Trump and MAGA want are ones that they can use as second-class citizens, and of course, those poor refugees from South Africa. I'm Tony Hinderman with Really American, and I'll catch you next time.